My father died alone early on an August morning. I was told they found him in the backyard in the process of chopping down a small elm tree. A heart attack. The woman who called me from the hospital was gentle, even compassionate. I guess she figured the news would upset me. She seemed surprised when I sighed and asked if there was anything I needed to do. I didn't realize that my dad had me listed as an emergency contact. It didn't seem fair that I didn't have a say in the matter. I received another unexpected call a few days later. This time, it was from my dad's lawyer. Turned out my father left me his house. 6 acres in the country, and nearly $250,000. That man who used to beat me if I got a C on my report card left me all of his worldly possessions. I guess I was all he had. Can I say no? I asked the lawyer. Of course, but you should see the house first. And the art collection. At the very least, you can sell everything and be done with it, if that's what you want to do. So I visited the home my father left me. Inside of the house was an attic, and inside of the attic was a collection of paintings. There were watercolors and oils and acrylics, portraits of kings and carpenters, and old women with folded hands, landscapes, vivid forests, and bright oils so real you almost hear the birds. My favorite painting was of a girl by the ocean. Her hair was like sunshine, her white dress tangled with the wind. She faced away from the artist towards the water. There was only one painting I avoided, and it stood in the corner of the room on a white easel covered in a black cloth. I only looked under the covering once. It was the portrait of my father, but more terrible than he'd ever been in life. The thing in the painting resembled my father in the same way a drowned corpse resembles the life that once animated the body. The skin was sallow, teeth cracked, pale black veins twisting across a bare scalp. The artist must have feared my father. I could see no other reason the painter would have left the portrait with such a ravenous expression of hate. One look behind the curtain was enough for me. I left the portrait in its corner. Other than that piece of rot, though, the collection as a whole was a miracle. I spent so many rainy afternoons and cold mornings in the attic among the pictures that it was immediately obvious to me when the subjects began to move. It was subtle at first. Eyes might shift in a portrait. A tree would rustle against an acrylic breeze. The girl on the beach was turning a degree or two each day. I was terrified the first night that I heard movement from the attic. The rapid sound of tap, tap, tap and footsteps along the ceiling woke me up. It lasted all night. And I sat there and I listened, too frozen by fear to flee the house. In the morning after, the sun was high. I crept up the stairs into the attic, armed with a flashlight and the largest knife I could find in the kitchen. Both the light and the knife fell from my numb fingers when I saw that every painting had changed. This wasn't just the shifting of a scene by a few angles. It was like seeing new paintings, but each with familiar subjects. The night sounds continued regularly from then on. I wasn't so afraid after the first time, though, and greeted each new morning with a trip into the attic to see the progress of my guests? Roommates? It was a long night in October when I finally saw the face of the girl in the painting. I'd gone up to the attic with a candle after dinner to check on the progress of the painting. In my dreams, they came fully to life and joined me, or perhaps even better, allowed me to join them in their kaleidoscope worlds. The girl on the beach was facing me that night. Her hand was raised slightly as if in greeting. But everything changed last night. The noises began just after sundown, and they were unlike any I'd heard before, thudding and crashing and ripping. It was a terrible dragging noise that repeated again and again. Sometime around midnight, I think I heard a scream. Though I once again felt pinned to my bed by fear, I decided I couldn't wait until morning to see how the paintings had changed. I worked up the courage to climb the stairs at 3 a.m, and once I opened the door to the attic, my eyes found a massacre. All of the beautiful paintings were torn as if by animals. The canvas hung in wet tatters, frames were smashed, and everywhere violence. Only the painting of the girl on the beach was undamaged, but to my horror it was changed. The girl lay dead on the red-stained sand, her eyes blank and her throat ripped open. I heard a brittle creak from the corner of the room. It took me a moment to realize. It was laughter. And it came from behind the black curtain that covered my father's portrait. Hey there kids, it's me, Mr. Creepypasta, and I wanted to tell you thanks so much for watching tonight's video or listening to tonight's episode of the podcast. It's winter, I think. I don't know exactly how the seasons work or on what day it changes, but it's damn cold. And you know what's good when it's cold? Tea. Hot tea. And my wife sells hot tea at Ivory Monocle. Ivory Monocle has a whole bunch of different kinds of loose leaf tea, including creepypasta themed loose leaf tea, or I guess Christmas and holiday themed loose leaf tea because 'tis the season. And you can get that right now at etsy.com/shop/Ivory Monocle tea. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to all of my contributors on Patreon. You guys are the real MVP. You guys keep the lights on here. And a very special thank you to all of the big skeleton patrons, such as Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Brian Ars, Bobby Carmen, Stephanie Butler, Tristan Pelton, Chance Burnett, Diana Krause, Mask Note, Rashad Collins, Joshua Mullen, Zavium, Dan Pham, Matthew McNeese, Shelly J, Ben Spates, Anna Storm, Jeremy H, Raltazal, Nana, The Morgan, Diamondella, Melted Lake, Tolly Sue, William King, Reaper 61167, Darth Miver, Micah Ortiz, Satanic Aries, Isoda Hatred, Nessie, Parafa Panda, Bardo Hawk 764, Melancholy Corpse, Ferb, Lambda M98, Harley, Billy Morrow, Sashi Suzaku, at Grizzly Olsen Pro, Caden the Spooky Boy, Zane Nightshade, My Body Sounds Like Rice Krispies, Lord of the Weebs, Jay, Miss Exandra, Suji Campbell, Stricken, Azarine Fox, Fried Chicken 12, Freddy Krueger, Michael Scarborough, Happy Birthday Jason Wilson, Infernal One, Lisa Cottrell, Caspian, Jordan Nels, Hades' Nephew, Tater Chip, Acid System, Prozac and Pancake Appreciation Society, Cryptic Nightmares, Kiri the Sloth, Tommy Green, Fester Lampshade, Sky Harbor, Nico Kyle, Rafael Rodriguez, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Polson, Trace Miles, and Corey Kenshin. Thank you guys so much for being a part of Patreon, and for everybody who's down there in the description, and everybody who even contributes just $1 to patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. And, as always, my friends, sweet dreams.